गुड इवनिंग एंड वेलकम बैक टू पैसा बोलता है। पैसा बोलता है में फिर से आपका स्वागत है। आईटीसी में एक बड़ा डेवलपमेंट हुआ, इसके बारे में आज हम बात करेंगे और विश्लेषण करेंगे। क्यों उन्होंने ऐसा किया, लेकिन अचानक क्यों किया और मार्केट का रिएक्शन क्या था, इसके बारे में हम बात करेंगे। Today I'm going to talk about ITC once again. I spoke about it last week, but there has been a sudden development and I want to speak and I want to tell you what is in my mind. The price of the ITC shares have been continuously falling for the last 2 days as I record today on Tuesday. The prices fell yesterday and has fallen 2% yesterday. During intraday it fell as low as 456 rupees. Since I have asked you to consider ITC at several times, I felt I should talk about this project. As you are aware, ITC has several divisions. ITC's main business is of course cigarettes. But cigarettes is under severe restriction from government for both under manufacture, sales and marketing. For more than 3 decades, ITC has been diversifying into other areas so as to bolster itself as a company. One of its earliest divisions were ITC Hotels, and Madras was the venue of its first hotel business. The hotel is now under renovation. It is called the Chola Sheraton. It used to be originally called as Chola Sheraton. It's on Radhakrishnan Road, one of the oldest five-star hotels in the city of Madras. Then there was what was then called as packaging, what was called ITC Bhadrachalam, which is now merged into ITC and has become a papers division, which manufactures class notes and paper craft. Then there's a large FMCG company, which is non-cigarette, which is moving into new areas. The problem, according to several analysts, was that ITC Hotels was taking 20% of its capital allocation and was not giving enough contribution to the bottom line. So all the time the negotiation was that ITC should be spun off as a separate, ITC Hotel should be spun off as a separate company. When ITC was languishing at 150 to 220, there was lot of talk about this. Then ITC also promised that they would consider looking at an alternate structure. But there was also a problem if you compare ITC hotels with Indian hotels. About a decade back, both of them were on similar size. Whereas Indian hotels had a laser sharp focus on hotels, it grew and expanded very fast and created several brands. ITC Hotels has been unable to do so because it's part of a big conglomerate and has not been able to manage it. Yesterday, what happened is in a sudden board meeting, it was Sanjeev Puri decided, and the board decided, of course, that ITC Hotels would be spun off as a separate company. The details are very less, but basically what it says is ITC, the main parent company, will own 40% of ITC Hotels, and the balance 60% will be distributed to all shareholders. There are two things that need to happen. We need to find out what is the price discovery has to happen, like it happened for Geo Financial Services. And you also have to decide what is the ratio at which the shareholders will get the balance 60%. If it, for example, if it is 1:1, then for every 1 share of ITC, you will get an ITC hotel share. Then for 2:1, for every 2 shares of ITC, you will get 1 share of ITC hotel. It is called 2:1. So in both cases, if you have 1000 shares of ITC, you will get 1000 shares of ITC hotels. If you have 1000 shares of ITC, in the second case, you will get 500 shares of ITC hotel. ITC is one of India's largest hotel chains and is definitely a great value. The market, which was demanding this all the time, has reacted negatively to this. God knows why. But people like us are waiting to exploit these kind of idiosyncrasies in the market. ITC is already a highly undervalued stock, according to me, and should be considered even at these prices. The fact that they are going to spin off the hotel division means I will retain this ITC as a company, and when ITC Hotel gets spun off, I will get some shares of ITC Hotel, which should also be retained by you because this will become one of India's largest brands. And ITC, the parent, owns 40%, can always acquire the rest if it wants. So this is a win-win situation. This is an alternate method to free that company, allowing the hotel company to grow. At the same time, the parent has made some investment in it, and the parent retains the control of the company, associate company as it will be called. And for shareholders, it is an additional value creation. The market has begun to sell ITC because for reasons best known to itself. And as the price corrects in very small quantities, one should consider acquiring it because it is beneficial to you in two ways. One, there will be value unlocking and you will get a company share separately. And once this is done through this year, from next year, the capital expenditure that went into the hotels will not go into that anymore. In fact, will go into building more brands in FMCG. And just before this was announced, the value of ITC as a company crossed HUL after 4 years. So this is actually good news for shareholders of ITC. You get two things. You get some amount of ITC hotel shares free, which you don't know how much it is. Plus you get to keep the parent company. And if the same level of commitment is shown by the management, it is very clear that ITC is going to be a fast-moving consumer goods behemoth in India. Let's take the case of Ashirvad Wheat. Ashirvad Wheat has put so much pressure on Hindustan Unilever that Annapurna, which started before Ashirvad, has been sold. So Hindustan Unilever has decided to exit the wheat market in India, and Ashirvad has got a strong stranglehold. In all markets in which it has entered, FMCG is looked at number 1, 2, 3 positions. I know for sure Sunfeast is doing very well. It's number 2 or 3. Parle G is only in glucose. If you take out glucose, it's reached number 2. In noodles, it's at number 2 position. In several other brands also, it has reached number 2. The only place where it has not done extremely well is in the soap and other categories. So at every fall, one should definitely consider acquiring little quantities of ITC whenever possible. And the markets, like I told you, markets can be irrational longer than you or I can remain solvent. So whenever Mr. Market is very unhappy and gives you a fundamentally undervalued stock very cheap, you must definitely consider. This is one of the cornerstones of value investing. Thank you for watching पैसा बोलता है. पैसा बोलता है कि इस पॉडकास्ट में आप उपस्थित हुए, इसके लिए मैं आपका आभारी हूँ. कृपया इस चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए, बेल नोटिफिकेशन दबाएं. आप वीडियो को लाइक कीजिए और अपना कमेंट्स नीचे लिखिए. अगर ये सब आपने कर दिया तो आप अपने दोस्त और रिश्तेदार को इस वीडियो को भेजें और इस चैनल को देखने के लिए आग्रह करें. धन्यवाद, नमस्कार, जय हिंद.